was like just shining the light that you were going to be on camera. You look so great.
Well, thank you. So do you. Good to see you.
Nice to see you too. I felt that it was so set up because I had a few more things to say before you popped up. So this is wonderful. Kathy says, there he is.
Hi, Kathy.
Stephanie says, the way of mastery. So we have book 1, which is the way of the heart. Book 2, the way of transformation. And book 3, which is the way of knowing. And I was just sharing with everyone, Jayem, the story behind how someone that I was teaching at a retreat, and a participant just randomly just sent me the book in the mail. And I receive a lot of books, as I'm sure maybe you do sometimes. I receive a lot of different books. And this book for me was, I had to open it. I was curious. And I was telling people that I could just open it up and read a sentence. And it brings me back home, if that makes sense. So I'm excited to explore with you. I kind of feel like I'm a little groupie of yours. One of my favorite teachers is Eckhart Tolle, and one of my mentors. And I love his work, and I feel that he lives it, which is something that calls me. But I feel that you are there. And I was like, Eckhart Tolle or Jayem? Eckhart Tolle or Jayem? I was like, let's go for Jayem. But thank you for being here. I just want to share a little bit. As I said, Jayem is the channel for the crystal clear channel of these 3 books. He had an encounter with Jesus in 1987. I would just say a few things. I feel that he's a very practical teacher, which is something that really calls me, because I love to teach from that space of practicality and living it, embodying it the very best way we can. And I feel that you're really good at that, at really just being very honest, very authentic. Speaking about authenticity, I was reading about that in your book, and you have Jesus has a little interesting twist about authenticity in the book, by the way, which we will go over. But I wanted to just kind of what we shared before the interview as we connected. I just feel to just drop in and just see where this goes. And I know that we're here to serve and I love, you say it over and over, Jesus says it is to create the good, the holy, and the beautiful together. And I'm very excited about that. One of the quotes that you shared was, all you need is love. Love fulfills all things. Love heals all things. Love transforms all things. Therefore, remember well, you and only you can become the cause of your fulfillment, of your peace, and your completion of time. This requires that you do nothing save to remember to establish the connection with your creator. Thank you for sharing that with me. And it's so in alignment. I was trying to think of questions for you, and I couldn't, because there's just no thinking necessary for this interview. Actually, no thinking, please. So what would you like to share about that quote, or what's coming up for you?
Well, it was, first of all, hello, everybody. It's a blessing to be with you. And before I start, I would love to invite everybody to do what Joshua calls make your home in the breathing. And take a moment right now and relax your belly and your shoulders and your jaw and your throat, and just welcome the breath deep into the body, which is really part of the mind. He calls it the unconscious part of the mind. And receive the breath deeply into your belly. Let it expand it like a balloon. Let the breath fill up through the heart. Hold it for just a moment. And then let the breath go and let everything go. Let everything relax. And then feel as the breath returns very effortlessly with the next inhalation. So something is constantly breathing us. He calls it the Rukkha Kodsha, the cosmic, holy, living breath, life of all. Spirit is all around us, through us. It's the only reality. And our job is to remove the obstacles to the presence of love. And when we receive the breath, we begin to feel. And when we feel, we can heal, we can see, we can receive this incredible field of spirit and light and love and guidance. It's all around us, just waiting for us to open and receive it. And as you just feel the breath flowing through you right now, can you recognize the tremendous gift that it is? It gives you life. And into that space, let's drop a little light unit of gratitude by just asking yourself, what's one thing that's occurred so far today for which you can feel gratitude right now? And just see what comes into your awareness. It could be something so simple. And as that comes and you feel that quality of gratitude, let the body breathe, let the heart open. Give yourself permission to receive and feel the frequency of gratitude. It will bring a smile to the lips, a joy to the heart, a relaxation to the mind that, as we all know, can bounce around a little at times. Gratitude is the attitude of the open heart. It's the essential quality of enlightenment or Christ mind. Now just feel that frequency of gratitude and realize that that same gratitude is what your Creator feels or experiences in its relationship with you, its creation. And the divine is ceaselessly waiting to give you all of itself. We have built barriers against that receiving and built substitutes for it. But that's the joy of our journey, to discover what has been false and to open what is true. All we need is love. But are we willing to truly open to it, to feel it, and to recognize, if we need to, what may be obstructing it as we move increasingly into true happiness? And then quietly at the heart, offer what is my favorite little prayer. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And in that simple way, a few breaths, feeling gratitude, a prayer of thankfulness, we can very easily come back into the remembrance of that connection with our Creator that He's referring us to here. And this is our one simple task, to remember first to connect with the Creator, to set aside our own thoughts, etc. To let that be felt. It isn't just a thought, it's a quality of energy. And from there, our guidance can come through the heart and through a peaceful mind. Take one more little breath as you do, and exhale. Let your eyes open slowly and softly, and just to receive what comes to your eyes. It may be seeing one of us on your screen. It could be a wall. It could be wherever the eyes are looking. But can you receive that as a gift? It's a miracle. I love David Hoffmeister's title of one of his new books. The moment is your miracle. It's right here. But we forget that. So just resting in that gratitude now. Wow. Something Joshua says to me, or says to all of us, and I find myself remembering it, calling on it often, is you cannot help but be in the right place at the right time. Nothing has come but that you've called it to yourself. And everything has a benevolence and a gift if we open to it, learn from it, out of our desire to remain one with our Creator and to let that one unfold us. So with that, notice how you're feeling right now. And as you're looking at our wonderful host, feel gratitude for her receiving of the impulse to create this program. It never existed before. Whoosh, it wasn't there and then it was. How did that happen? And let's just all feel gratitude for that miracle that's allowing us to connect right now.
I received that.
Mm.
Jayem, I love how you opened up in the space. I always like to pray and call in spirit before I do anything, and I was so excited and so giddy. I'm happy that you heard the call to open up that space and to bring us to this space of being able to channel and being able to connect at a more deeper level. Let's bring up. I feel well today we're talking about the topic, and it just came to me, the title "Mastering Happiness," which I thought was really, it was cute. It was cute. I just said this is a cute title, and I feel that. Then yesterday I was like, this is so much more than mastering happiness, because this is about deep transformation at a core level of where your perception and the way you experience life is so radically different. So I want to talk to you about true happiness, because you actually even said that at some point. True happiness. What is that for you?
True happiness is the best chocolate money can buy. No, I'm just kidding. Although that's a good start.
Yes, I agree. Ding, ding, ding. I agree.
Yeah, the journey of happiness is really the essence of the spiritual journey, and it will change as our consciousness changes. I mean, I can remember many, many years ago, happiness to me would be getting my very first new car instead of a used car. Wow, this is great. That's just where my consciousness was at the time. But one thing I've loved about what Joshua shares and teaches, he makes no judgment about the desire we feel in our being. In other words, someone might desire a better job. Someone might desire their soulmate. Someone might desire money, whatever it might be. What he recommends is always trust that desire and go toward where it is leading you, because as you taste the journey that desire leads you to, you will learn and you will grow and you will transform. And your very soul begin to speak more deeply to you about the journey to true happiness. And hopefully that makes sense. But in other words, that would be one thing I'd love to offer to everyone. Most human beings, I've found, have a real battle going on within them. I shouldn't desire this. I shouldn't desire that. Josh would say, why not? What are you not trusting? Who told you shouldn't desire a hammock on a beach in Hawaii? What if you gave yourself to it? What might you discover by following your heart? So he calls us constantly to trust that the deepest part of us is in alignment with the entire cosmos. And the cosmos has only one purpose: to extend the presence of God as the good, the holy, and the beautiful. And each and every one of us participates in what we call ego, or the dream of separation. And we built the barriers against reality, became identified with it. And so, as he says in the Course, it's necessary to seek for what is false. We need to turn our awareness back and go, okay, what the heck has been running me here? It's like, oh, that's fearful, that's judgmental. Is this something I want to hold on to? No, it's kind of hurting my life. Great. Forgive, open the heart. What is it I truly want? What do I truly desire? Could I begin to trust that innermost impulse, when I've relaxed away from my mind, rested in the breath and can feel it, what if that impulse of longing is the way God is longing for us to call us more and more closely? So one thing I do with my work with people is to help them rediscover how to feel their true longing of the heart, and then discover what is the step you need to take to move toward it. Whatever that is, if it's a new car, a new job, whatever, it doesn't matter what it is. What matters is that you finally surrender to the willingness to let it live you into your flowering. And by so doing, one begins to realize that the impulse where all this is coming from is from God, who's calling us out of our limitations, out of our fears, out of the ego, and into Christ's mind. We will each have our own unique journey of that, our own unique revelations, our own unique creations that come forth from it, that will grow the wisdom of the soul and flower our remembrance. He puts it so beautifully. I just have to borrow his words. Hope you don't mind. So he said, "You exist only in the infinite loveliness of the mind of God." That's the only place we exist. So what is this mind then that's calling us? What is this longing in the heart? What if we went toward our longing and let it call us and move us forward? What I've discovered is this is where true happiness is found, because we're doing just what he said in this quote. You're remembering to rest in and establish connection with your Creator. And that one is unfolding you like a flower out of a seed. So it's really a journey of recovering trust and the willingness to make those steps, whatever they may be.
Yeah, what's coming through is also is I love how you opened up with, like, many of us, especially if we're course students or on this spiritual path, and we start to feel guilty, and that's something that I also have felt throughout my journey at times, is the sense of guilt of desiring things outside of myself and thinking, well, my source is not out there, and I shouldn't be wanting things outside. Like I shouldn't be wanting. And then what I began to do is start to really give that over with that prayer. I desire God's will, and may God's will be done. Like I love it. And I know that Jesus shares that and channels that through also in the way of mastery. And that's just the most beautiful thing. So for me, it's not so much I don't feel guilty anymore, but I can see how students can feel that guilt, because they take it in a very intellectual way of, like, the world is not real, only love is real, all these kinds of things. And then it's bringing it from, I feel, and this is what Live Your Happy is all about in this opening of this interview, is to bring it from the mind to more of the heart center of, all right, I desire these things. There's a reason for the desire. And for me, Jayem, is not letting that define me. Because I feel that in the past, it was, even when I was an actor and a TV host, it was that defined me. Like that's Maria, or that's my happiness. Or what happens is now, even writing this book, it's like being an author doesn't define me, or being a teacher of God doesn't define me. They're fun symbols, but God defines me. So I feel that's something that has been helpful for me, to be in the world and not of it, and love things of the world, but at the same time know that ultimately they don't complete me. I feel that's been helpful. Am I on track there?
Yeah, absolutely. I hear what you're saying, and I'd like to come back to something you spoke to, because, over the years, ever since this journey with him started, and I still consider myself a student of the Way of Mastery teachings. The definition he gives us of mastery is a state in which nothing of the world compels you in any direction. But he defines the world in the Joshua letters as the vast array of perceptions, attitudes, and beliefs with which you have become unwittingly identified. So hopefully that makes sense. It's our attitudes. These are the obstacles to presence of love. And when we hear things like, "Oh, seek not outside yourself, it will fail." Yes, that's true. And when we seek in the ego's thinking, we are seeking in something outside of us. It doesn't exist. We're just seeking in a realm of illusion. But when he says, like, there's nothing outside of you, he doesn't mean that there are no trees or apples or sunsets. He means that literally nothing you see is outside of you. You are the self from which the whole cosmos has come forth. it all exists within you, not you as the body, not you as your personality mind, but the true self that you are. And that when we rest in that deep silence, and sometimes it may be difficult to get to it, but when we can contact that, we start to realize that what is unfolding as our lives is not outside of us. And the movement or energy of desire that, say, moves within you to write a book or to create this webcast is the impulse of love calling you into a context through which love can extend service, but will also transform and grow you in your light as the Christ. So every context that unfolds, whether it be making $1 million, whatever your heart is called to, serves two purposes. If we begin by wanting to connect with the Creator, it will be utilized by love to serve the purposes of love, to extend creation, and it will transform and grow us in the wisdom of the soul. Does that make sense for you?
Yeah, and I love where we're going with this, because when I first was hearing the desire, there's one of the lessons is all about desire. And the desire word comes up left and right. And at first, maybe 2 years ago when I read it, I was like, desire? I was like, we're not supposed to desire anything of this world. We're course students. We're not supposed to. And so I was a little bit taken back by that. And it's funny it comes up again, because it goes to my question of, it's difficult to balance that. And you started with that as well too when you started speaking. It's the desire and the trust, right? The desire and the trust. That's like a biggie, because we desire, and then at the same time, trusting that, basically what the Way of Mastery is saying, and the Course in Miracles is saying, that is that happiness is our inheritance, happiness is our function, happiness is what we are, peace is what we are, love is what we are, our truth, our light. And then at the same time, most of us feel the opposite of that. So what I'm trying to get out here is that desire and wanting to experience that wholeness and that oneness, or that desire for things outside. How can we make amends with that? Because I feel that there's so much guilt going on with desiring things in form. But I love what you said. Actually, what I got was you were saying how, like, desire is part of the journey, right? Because it's true. I had a desire in my heart to create this video today and create this interview. There was a desire there, and that was part of the journey, right? So I feel that I had never thought of it like that, like you're explaining it now, that desire is part of the curriculum, and you can use it actually as a process of forgiveness too, of that, the whole journey of wanting that car, wanting that relationship, So I love what you're saying here. So desire doesn't need to make us feel guilty, but rather use it as a tool to awaken. Da, 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 da.
Yes, absolutely. He makes it pretty clear in the Way of Mastery. The way he puts it is, look, without the energy of desire, you would not exist. The Creator desired that you be as a spark of light and a soul, and therefore you are. So this energy of desire pervades everything of creation. It's fundamental. He says in the Joshua letters, one of the first things he said to me was, you will always experience the fulfillment of your desire. That's how powerful we are. We birth worlds, for God's sake. It's like we desired separation, et voila, here it is. We've made it. We've made a planet on which it plays out. That's who we are. So he said, therefore, what you desire is of utmost importance. And the only way to truly come into the recognition of what you're desiring is to open with great honesty and feel and look upon the desires and learn to distinguish between the desires of the ego mind and the true desires of the heart. Greater peace, somewhere he said, always ask only for greater peace and greater wisdom. And the whole universe will move to create the contexts that help those grow within your being. The desire is fundamental. Trying to fight against it or feeling guilty about it is to move into split mind, which I know is, of course, talks about. You're in split mind, you're in duality. Love allows all things, trusts all things, embraces all things. So if desire is arising, can we embrace it with love and innocence, turn toward it and feel it, maybe inquire into it, and gradually come to recognize that true happiness is the process of purification in which our desire, through the nature of the mind and expressing through the body and the world, is our communion with our Creator. That's the one thing that fulfills the soul, and the one thing that allows creations to come forth that truly do extend the good, the holy, and the beautiful. Love extends God's creation, fear obstructs it.
Yeah, what I'm receiving too is the when you're saying about the desire, it's also, as you start to do that purification, that desire starts to come through with spirit, and there's you start to create and desire from a different space, not the ego. And I see that throughout my journey. I can only speak for myself, but there was so much desires in the past of that were coming from an egoic thought system. I know, because I had the desire to be an actor so that I can be special, so I can be recognized. I had the desire to possibly, maybe book that big TV show so that I can make a lot of money, or so I can get an Oscar, or whatever it is, right? So those were desires, and those desires always left me unfulfilled, and always left me depressed, and always made me sad. And now that I look about it, I'm so grateful, because I that was part of my journey, to be able to not to be disconnected, disassociated from that egoic thought system of that desire outside of me. And now it's funny, because we come full circle, and I'm, it's Live Your Happy TV show, so I'm doing it again, right? I'm reliving that desire, and now, wow, now it's coming from the space of spirit.
Exactly.
Because I have no agenda but to spread love with you.
Yeah. Now let's take a moment and take a breath. And if we go back to the time when your mind perceived and interpreted your desires from a certain viewpoint, I want an Oscar, I want to make money, or whatever it was, can we see that those are just how the mind interprets this great mystery? Yet in fact, look where it's delivered you to. The skills, the growth, the learning, the purification, the very experience of, say, fulfilling a certain egoic desire and then discovering it leaves you empty is the very thing that moved you to search more deeply. So all things work together for good. There's only holy perfection. There's only the love of God unfolding us. We have to trust our journey and let it unfold us.
I love how Jesus describes through you authenticity. And it's actually something I shared yesterday. Every month I have, it's called a happiness tune-in. So we tune in once a month, and we just tune in, and we have different themes. So yesterday's theme was self-worth. And one of the things I felt really called to share with the participants was what Joshua shares through you, the way it shares about authenticity. It's beautiful. One of the things, it's not your typical authenticity that the world teaches you. It's an authenticity, it's basically innocence. It's that innocent place of where you come from, of truth. That is the authenticity. The authenticity, there's a part that is channeled through you that says, when you're authentic, you're just honest. You're honest that you're scared to be a millionaire, right? You're honest that, you're whatever it is, right? It's so radical, because we don't do that. I always say we got to feel it to heal it, but we just want to jump a step. We don't want to heal it. We just want to heal, but we don't want to go through the healing. So can you elaborate a little bit more on authenticity? I feel it's a big thing on mastering happiness. I feel to be happy, to be truly happy, you need to learn how to be authentic with yourself and others. true
Mm,
authenticity,
mm.
authenticity.
Yeah, what you're speaking of there is really important, and in many ways, it's like the pivotal nexus of all that he's taught me to do and how to work with people through Love's Breath and Radical Inquiry, which is really the art of becoming truly, honestly present. In the Way of Mastery, he says there are two qualities that have to be developed in us, which means in our egoic state, they're not there. We have to develop them, remember them. One of them is humility. You did not create yourself. Therefore, you belong to something else. Life isn't yours. It's not yours to grab at. So true humility is that recognition. It's an astounding recognition when you truly get, wait a minute, I didn't bring myself into existence. It's like, if I'm not the tree and the tree's roots, maybe it's time I give the branches back to whatever created me, created the tree. And then the second quality is self-honesty. So you're spot on, and it is developed. The ego is not honest. It creates an image. It has ideas. I'm spiritual, therefore I don't have any desire. Blah blah. It's all mental masturbation. I hate to be fun about it, but that's the way it is. And we have to develop honesty. I'm scared. I'm sad. I'm whatever. Can we breathe and truly welcome these feeling states and these qualities that we have a judgment of? When I can do that, I'm becoming honest. And in my honesty, I'm moving toward wholeness. I'm resting I'm being held by love. And when I come to feel what I need to feel truly, I will also come to see the labyrinth or the dynamics that led me where I'm at. Since I and I alone am the creator of my experience, nobody else is to blame. I'll start to see the underlying beliefs and patterns more clearly than if I'm in denial. So authenticity requires a first step. Wow, I'm feeling a lot of anxiety because I don't have money and I would really love to have plenty of money. That's honest. Get honest with it. Take a breath. What if that is the next movement of your journey to master creating money? Someone Joshua worked with through me years ago, this issue came up, and Joshua helped him see he'd always wanted to be a millionaire, but he was a yogi and a meditator and had all these spiritual ideas. And Joshua helped him see all of that's crazy. Just throw it all away and trust your heart. And the guy did it. And about 3 years later, he contacted me, and he made money in the market in real estate. He finally trusted his desire, and he had amassed like a couple $1,000,000. And he said, that's when I realized that it really wasn't the money I wanted. It wasn't the Porsche and this and that. What I wanted was to have the means to be helpful to others. That's what was always missing in his life before. Now suddenly he had $2 million and he was changing his whole life around to donate to causes, and his heart grew in a greater fulfillment. So he was just saying, thank you. Tell Joshua, thank you for helping me get out of my own way and let my journey unfold me as it needed to. So authenticity begins with what's really true right now. Whatever that is. I'm sad, I'm lonely, I'm confused. That's what is. Only love heals. Self-honesty is the act of love. That's what activates the transformation and the healing to occur. But if I deny it or try to go to some spiritual idea, I'm just going into split-mindedness. Might as well just, only the truth will set you free. What's the truth? I'm scared. I'm lonely. I don't know which direction to go. That's my experience. I think I need to welcome it, give it a breath, and be with it just as it is. I like to use the image of welcoming it onto your lap the way a loving mother welcomes a child who's having a nightmare or is scared of something, and the mother picks up the child and puts it on her lap and go, that's okay. In the same way, we can welcome our state of being just as it is, and it actually becomes a doorway through
I love
ourselves.
it. I love it because it sounds so gentle.
Yeah,
It's like
it is.
being gentle with ourselves. I feel that
Mhm.
we we are, as a collective, as humans, we're very hard on ourselves. So it's like the soothing part of the mother and the child. It's being gentle, and right here in this, in the you create you alone create your tomorrows in the way of knowing. There's a part here that says the Holy Spirit always knows the shortest route to God.
Mhm.
It will, when presented to you, bring up for you your deepest fears, since it is fear that obstructs the light of truth.
Mhm.
So I feel that that's why the authenticity is so important,
Yeah.
because with the help of spirit will see these thought clusters, these thoughts of separation with you, and show them to you and help. And you're not alone. You heal them with spirit. And that was my journey, is to consistently go within and ask and receive, and ask and receive. And sometimes I would ask and I wouldn't receive anything, and I would just be honest about that. I'm so pissed I'm not receiving anything. And then something would come after. It's just this practice. And
Yes.
I feel something that a real big call to do with my work, and I know that you're the same. It's this time of no exceptions and no compromise. It's like, let's get to work, let's do this and let's have fun with it. It doesn't, there's one beautiful mantra, or like I always go back to spirit and I always ask, and it's so funny because I always get the same answer. It gets to the point. I don't need so much channeling anymore. It's very simple. And it's always, Maria, you're making something matter. It's always the same. It's like, I'm sad, I'm this and that. And then what it says is,
Yeah.
Maria, you're making something matter. And then it's always, it's not such a big deal. It's not do or die. It's seriously, I love you. I get you, but it doesn't matter. So I feel that it's so beautiful, because I feel spirit's so playful. And when we're in that authenticity, and as you're saying, that you, like I love to say, is to feel it to heal it, is, spirit will show us what's in need of healing, although we need to have that willingness. I like to say big willingness, right?
Yeah, I agree. Yes, without that willingness, I think that's why he says in the Course in the Way of Mastery, it all begins with a little willingness. Just offer a little thimbleful of willingness, and the universe, it will move the mountains to meet you where you are. I think somebody said, only God knows how to unravel you from your illusions. You don't know how, or you would have done it already. So can we trust? I'm scared, I'm sad, I'm whatever. What am I making matter? What's my mind making out of this? What if this is my next step? Just to welcome this sadness, because my deepest desire is for peace or for God. What if this is a step, a touchstone in my journey? What I've discovered in my work with so many people is most people have really deep patterns of avoiding certain feeling states at all costs. Somewhere there's a judgment. I shouldn't feel weak. I shouldn't feel sad. I shouldn't get angry. I shouldn't. That's a judgment. That's the energy of judgment right there. And once they see that they're just in judgment, and that judgment is the opposite of love, then I can invite them. Let's just get honest here. What's the real truth? Like, yeah, I'm scared. Great. Let's just be with that. Yeah, there we go. Welcome to planet Earth. And great. Let's just feel what being scared is. And can you give it breath? Often, like Fritz Perls back in the 80s was able to point out that fear and excitement are exactly the same in terms of EEGs and all these measurement things that we can do, except for one thing. With excitement, the body is breathing and the mind is open to wonder. So fear and excitement are that close together as a feeling state. So if I can turn to fear and give it breath and become kind of filled with wonder, gee, what is it I'm afraid of? What's really going on here? What's actually running me? It opens the space of transformation. and we begin to contact the living power of genuine excitement. We begin to see, oh, I do need to make this change. Yeah, time to give up that bottle of whiskey for breakfast. Great, I got it. Okay, whatever the change needs to be, and make the
Yeah.
change, and we unfold.
I was thinking about one time that I was driving in the car, and I remember just talking to Jesus, and it was beautiful to just say, I'm scared. Right now, I'm feeling scared for some reason. I'm not sure why. And what I got is just, I feel scared because, I don't know how to handle this situation or whatever it was. And I remember that, just the gentleness of Jesus that came over me of, it's okay, and that honesty of like, I'm scared started to dissipate because I got so honest about it.
Yeah.
And it was, I just feel like every day I'm waking up in this curriculum, this school, and that whenever I'm fearful, it's just because I have resistance. I just have resistance to connect with Christ, with Jesus at the point. I have resistance to God. I have resistance to my oneness at that moment. I'm just forgetting. I always like to say, for a hot second, I have forgotten, and then I become a hot mess, right? So,
good way to put it. Yeah.
In that moment when I was driving, I just got, wow, I'm feeling fearful because I'm being resistant right now, and it really helped me. Just change things around, and every day I practice that. And one thing that I love about there's a practice in the book, the way of mastery, and I have it here on a post-it. Actually, it's called the 7-day exercise. This is a practice I actually want to leave the group with, because I want to leave this interview with people being able to practice it and incorporate it. These beautiful souls, all of us, incorporate this work. I feel that it's so important to, again, live it, embody what we're given here, if we feel called to. But it's basically 7-day exercises. 7-day exercise. I've actually made it just a little shorter version to describe it. But this is the first one, and I love this. And if you want to talk about this, you can. And I am a disciple of Christ is the first thing to recognize. I was like, yes, I am a disciple of Christ, and if I am that, what does that look like? If I'm a disciple of Christ, the way that I am functioning in this world, the way I'm experiencing this world is just completely radical, right? And then the second one is to allow the dissolution of the illusions. Allow the dissolution of the illusions, which is basically recognizing what's really real. And the third is let the Christ come and live in my mind. So it's just 7 days of just contemplating these 3 steps, which is one, I am a disciple of the Christ. Second is, basically allowing the dissolution of the illusion. And then the third step is let the Christ come in and live in my mind. And if there's something that the way of mastery is really good at, is just the recognition of how we create our tomorrows, of how our thoughts have so much epic power. And that's something that really Joshua channels through you. So I want to kind of close with that. If anybody has any particular questions, I might have time for maybe one. So if you guys want to shoot them out, we can do that to end. But do you want to go over this process a little bit, and how it can be helpful, or how to practice it?
Wow, that could be, we could spend a week doing that. But again, Joshua is such a masterful teacher. And after all these years, say when I hear someone reading something from what he has given us, now I can see and understand the brilliance of it beyond anything I could have imagined. And I'm still unpacking it in my own being. But so if you look at those 3 steps, they work chronologically in order. You can't turn it around. You can't skip one. You have to accept that I'm a disciple of Christ. Wait a minute. My desire is I'm devoted to this. This is what runs my soul. This is who I am. I'm not the author. I'm not the fireman. I'm not this. I'm not this. I'm a disciple of Christ, which means something in me is devoted to ceaseless unfolding, and I'm willing to be surrendered to whatever that is. That's a huge step in itself. The second one is way major, to allow. Are we really willing to allow this unwinding to take place? Are we willing to allow ourselves to see honestly, I am scared. Yes, I've been manipulative. Yes, I've been this. I need help. Can I really see it? And then can I allow my attachments to be dissolved? My fears of not being loved, my fears of not being approved of. Can I truly allow this alchemical process under the Holy Spirit's guidance to take place? It's like surrendering to cosmic surgery. And we're not the surgeon. We don't know how to do that, but we can allow. And then the third step, in other words, you can't really invite Christ to dwell in that space until the space has been emptied.
Mm.
Makes sense? So there's these three steps unfold in a very progressive alchemy.
Mm.
That's why it's so important to start with the first one, to really accept. And I would recommend to people, I just like to ask people, what's the first 10 things you did today? And really, those first 10 things need to come to be the moment you wake up in the morning. Do you make your home in the breathing? Do you rest in your heart and in prayer? Do you remember what the deepest desire of your heart and soul is? I'm a disciple of Christ. Is that where your day begins? Or are your 10 things, are you already at lunch, and you haven't even
Mm.
taken the time to drop in and attune? So seek first the queendom of heaven. Start the day by, he calls it making your home in the breathing, which is really however you want to do that, but to come into attunement with your heart's desire and to invite spirit to be with you and to help you remember what your true purpose is in life as a disciple of Christ mind. And then to be willing to offer whatever needs to occur this day, Lord, so that you carry me ever more deeply into you. Unravel my illusions ever deeper, whatever they may be. I'm willing to allow that to happen so that Christ can come and dwell in the very place that I once clogged up with my own ego. The body, the breath, the mind, our creations come more and more to serve that extension. So I'm glad you brought those three things up, those three steps every morning before you even open your eyes would be a beautiful way to start the day.
Believe it or not, Jayem, one of the meditations that I've been consistent with since I received the book was the 5-minute meditation. And the 5-minute meditation it starts with, I know it by heart. I'm not going to say the whole thing, but it starts with, I am my Father are one. I and my Father are one. And then it says, it's a beautiful day, or it says, it's a beautiful day. And then you go on to just recognize that you've created the moment, that you're sitting in this chair. And then it's just beautiful. And I actually recorded it one day on Pandora. I put on a meditation, and it was exactly, those 5 minutes. And I think I had a little bit of leeway there at the end. And this beautiful song came on through the Pandora, and I recorded it. And I do it all the time. I either do it by myself because I've memorized it, or I'll put this amazing meditation that's come through with your, the way of mastery, but with this music. And it's the perfect music. It's like if I recorded it in a studio. I have to send it to you, because it's just it's really amazing how just Spirit set it up. And this 5-minute meditation, which you will find in, I think it's I think it's in the first book that the 5-minute meditation is on, which is the way of the heart. And I highly recommend it. I had put Jayem's website towards the top of the chat, so if anybody wants to know more about his work, you can click on there and find the books. I'm assuming I couldn't find the link to find the individual books. Jayem, are they available?
Yeah, they are. The simplest way right now is to go to lulu.com, LULU.com, and you can order them there. We're in the process of a new publisher who is republishing them all, plus is taken all what we call the early years, all the pre-way of mastery channelings that he did are going to be in 2 volumes called the early years. There's so much amazing material that went on for some years before he began the way of the heart. So anyway, new publisher is going to have that already by December, but for right now, the main
The
text,
Lulu.com.
lulu.com.
I put it here. Did I spell it correctly? LULU.com here.
You got it.
Perfect. So you can check that out. Also, you can look at Jayem's website. He also has some videos, and also he does also teach online classes and speaks abroad. He has actually a retreat coming up, and I want to give a shout out to my beautiful sister, Kathy Scott Perry. I love you, Kathy. Thank you for putting together this retreat with these amazing teachers. Jayem is one of them, and it's called Miracles in the Mountains. And it's called Miracles, Scribes, and Mystics. And the conference is October 11th through the 15th. And it's at the Art of Living Retreat Center in North Carolina. So if anybody wants to join that retreat, if I wasn't in Mexico, which I'm going to be teaching in Mexico, I would be there, because I would love to see you in action. I mean, you're just such a beautiful teacher. You're a beautiful brother. And so I invite my brothers and sisters to definitely check that out. The website, the link for the retreat is on Jayem's website under events. You can find that. So I just wanted to go ahead and thank everyone for joining us. I wanted to thank you, Jayem, for your beautiful words that Spirit has shared through you. And I'm just excited that I had this desire and this call, and like you said, this was created, and I'm excited. I want to definitely have another conversation with you at some point about relationships. We're already at the hour, but I do want to talk about conscious relationships. I know you got married recently, so congratulations, by the way. I want to explore that and just see, because I feel relationships is a big thing. Not only relationships just relationships in general. I feel is our way also to salvation, to waking up, is our relationships. Kathy says, thank you. Love you, Maria. Thank you for answering the call and doing what you love to do for us. And thank you, Jayem. So nice to see you and hear your wisdom. Renee says, thank you. Stephanie says, is Lulu also the new publisher for the new work coming in December? So they're the publisher. No? Okay.
Different publisher. Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. Alrighty, so I just wanted to share with everyone that Jayem is quite like me, because I saw online that you do a lot of things donation-based. I think one of your online programs was donation-based. So we do work that way, and I get why. I think that when you start to be a teacher, you start to just really trust and know that you're provided for, and that's just one of the symbols of that, of sharing and trusting and knowing that we are provided for. So I'm going to go ahead and prompt donations now. These donations will go to both Jayem's ministry as well as mine. So I just prompted that. You guys can go ahead and make your donations on there. I've also made it accessible through PayPal. So the link to PayPal is on the top of the chat, so you can do that as well. So just thank you, Jayem, for your time. I'm happy that you're here. I'm happy also to support your ministry and your calling of the heart. You're just a badass, man. I'm sorry, I just have to say it. I know that it's a bad word, but you're just a badass. I love you. I appreciate your work, and mind you, I've just done, every time, like I said when I started, is every time I read a sentence or even a word from this beautifully channeled book, I come back home. So thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, and I thank Joshua for bringing it through. Like I said, I continue to be a student of his teaching, and it still amazes me that he could get me out of the way and use the body to bring forth that wisdom. And it's incredible. There's no end to its depth if we're really, really willing to open to it. And what I love about it is it's so practical. Every lesson and chapter has very practical, real-life exercises that deepen this connection to creation, to our Creator. And I think that's when he's really brought forth a remarkable creation to help serve the awakening of humanity, which is the only thing he's dedicated to. So my gratitude always to him.
Amen, amen, amen. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Joshua. Thank you, Jayem. And thank you to every single soul that has heard the call to be here live with us. This is a collective effort. We're all one mind, even though we think we have private thoughts, no such thing. So This is us in the oneness healing together. And anyone that's watching this video will be available on replay as soon as we conclude. Anybody can go to the link and see this video at any time. So there's other people from other time zones that I'm sure will be able to see this video. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Jayem. And let's party. Let's party in the happy train. The train has left the station.
Yes.
Choo choo. Love you, brother.
Take good care. Good to be with you.
Good to be with you. Love you. Bye, everybody. Thank you for the support and we receive the donations. Thank you, everyone, from the bottom of our heart. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.